He tries choking Thomas, who grabs a skull and hits him with it to escape. A chase ensues and Thomas manages to yell for help before Ben makes him roll down the hill. Soon they make it back to the settlement, and when Ben is about to kill Thomas, Newt hits him to knock him down. The boys work together to hold Ben and check his stomach, revealing a disturbing scar. Ben asks for mercy, but the boys put him in the pit anyway. Then Albie explains to Thomas that Ben is going through something called the changing, which happens when a boy gets stung in the maze. It's the first time it happened in daylight though. Since the infection is spreading and they know it'll only get worse, the boys push a crying Ben into the maze right before the door closes. That night they cross Ben's name out on the wall. Thomas has another dream about the strange woman, the lab, a girl helping him through an experiment. In the morning Thomas notices that Albie enters the maze although he isn't a runner, so Newt explains he went to retrace Ben's steps to find out how he was stung. He also reveals Albie was the first boy to arrive at the glade and had to spend a month alone before the box brought more people. Later that day the boys worry because Albie and the runners aren't back and time is running out. When the door is about to close, they notice Minnow carrying a wounded Albie, which is slowing him down. Sending rescuers is against the rules, but Thomas decides to run into the maze anyway, making it inside right before the door finishes closing. Then Thomas checks on Albie and discovers he's been stung, so Minnow had to knock him out. The grievers can already be heard screeching and Thomas wants to protect Albie, but Minnow insists there's nowhere to hide. Noticing the ivy on the wall, Thomas gets an idea. With Minnow's help, they tie Albie up and begin lifting his body to hang him among the plants. However, when they're still working, a griever appears and Minnow runs away. Thomas makes sure to hold on to the rope to keep Albie up before hiding behind the plants. When the griever walks by it doesn't notice Thomas, who discovers this creature is made of mechanical parts. After the monster is gone, Thomas comes out to tie the rope to the branches, but he quickly has to hide when the griever reappears. He waits until the creature goes away again to start looking around. Suddenly some goo falls on his shoulder and Thomas looks up to find the griever climbing on the walls. It lands on the ground and starts chasing after Thomas, who begins running as fast as he can until he's stuck in a blocked corridor. A desperate Thomas begins climbing the ivy and makes it to the top of a wall to run through an upper corridor, only to get stuck between a very high edge and the griever. With no other choice, he makes a big jump and manages to hold on to the ivy. The griever does the same and lands on top of him, bringing out a mechanical arm with a needle that tries to sting him. Thomas dodges it, but the weight of the griever causes the ivy to break, dropping them both on the ground. The griever's limbs are now tangled in the plant, so Thomas takes the chance to run and bumps into Minnow. The maze is starting to change and Minnow runs into another section, hoping to lose the griever that's freed itself from the plants. Seeing the walls move, Thomas waits for the creature to catch up. When it's close enough, he begins running between the closing walls, taunting the monster into following him. The next day the boys are shocked to see Minnow and Thomas bring Albie out of the maze and learn that Thomas' plan managed to kill a griever. Afterward the group has a meeting to discuss what happened and Gally wants to punish Thomas for breaking the rules, but Minnow thinks they should make him a runner. Everyone agrees except Gally, who thinks Thomas is still too new. The conversation is interrupted when they hear the